people? The hour, the comedy, the laughs, the madness, the craziness, the comedy, the treachery, and the guilt and the shame of what's left in this world of court TV and everything else. Tano Von Tano and Associates here to give you what you need. A piece of the action of what court is like. There we are, everybody. As we approach, I want to say everything that I say can and won't be used against me in court of law because I'm mentally incapable. I have Alzheimer's, dementia, stage 4 cancer, stage 4, 8, 10, 12. Here we are, approaching the final hour, everybody. Let's see what's going on. Yeah. Our second person of this hour, or the second one that we have here today. Cameron. Oh well.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. The doctor can be sworn.
Here we are. First man of the hour, or whatever we should call him. Our mental health fellow, guy that's been in the mental health ward for 30 years. Is our first defendant. I mean, a witness, star witness. Second. First, does it really matter? Look how insane he is. Look at the insanity of it all.
Thank you, Your Honor. Will
Yes,
you please
thank
tell
you.
the jury your full name and business address?
Yes, please.
David R. Spiegel. I'm a physician. I work at 825 Fairfax Avenue in Norfolk, Virginia, as part of the Eastern Virginia Medical School.
Does he know
And
what
what is
part
your
of Virginia?
occupation?
Is it east, west,
I'm a
south,
physician
north?
psychiatrist.
And
Why
where
can't
do
he
you
make up
work?
his
Do you
mind?
work at?
I work at Eastern Virginia. I'm employed by Eastern Virginia Medical School, but I also
She
work at
giggling?
Norfolk General Hospital, which is a teaching hospital in Norfolk.
Giggling?
How many years
Well,
have you been
suppose
practicing
he's
as a
giggling.
psychiatrist?
My God,
I
control
entered
yourself.
residency in 1989.
Yes.
I graduated residency in 1993.
You graduated
So from
pregnancy in
1993 to
1993.
today, I've been
That's pretty damn
in
good.
physician practicing.
But did you ever give birth?
That's almost 30
That's 30 years, yeah.
Okay, thank you.
So 30 years he
Please
was in a
describe for
mental
the jury
institution,
the nature of
people.
your clinical practice.
So my clinical practice is comprised of both
Yes,
inpatient care
clinical
at Norfolk General
practice
Hospital,
is
as
mental
well as my outpatient practice at Eastern Virginia Medical School. About 85 to 90% of my day is clinical between the two components.
And what is involved in a
So how many
comprehensive
people hate
evaluation?
themselves because of you?
So in a comprehensive evaluation, in addition to reviewing historical information that you receive from collateral other sources, you undertake a history from the patient. You get, whether it's the history of current illness, the
Well,
past
half deaf, for
psychiatric
heaven's sakes,
history,
please speak up.
family history, social history, legal, substance history.
Yes.
Then you do what's called a mental status exam, which is the psychiatric version
I
of
bet
a
he's
physical
gone through
exam
all
where you're
mental
actually
status
giving a
reports.
description of what you see in front of you.
Look how messed
Then
up
you
he
can do
is.
cognitive testing, which
Looks
tests
like
the
he
patient
just
memory,
got out
attention,
shark
concentration,
wings.
etc. Then you come up with a working and a differential
Or
diagnosis,
a car wash.
describe any other additional testing you may need or not need, and then you come up with a treatment plan.
How many patients have you treated over the 30 years?
Yes, how many patients have committed suicide because of you?
Quite a lot, probably in the tens of thousands.
And how many patients do you regularly see?
So
There's still a lot.
inpatient is generally about 5 to 8, sometimes more. Outpatients probably 5 to 6, sometimes more. I should point out that my inpatient work is divided between consultation, psychiatry, and I believe we're going to talk about that, as well as working on the inpatient service. So we'll talk about that.
What, if any,
I'm
differences
afraid
are
of.
there on how many patients you see on weekends as opposed to weekdays?
So when I'm on call, which is on either a Saturday or a Sunday meeting, I have to be in the hospital and around. That's probably an additional 35 plus patients.
How frequently do you treat patients who abuse drugs and alcohol?
They're still alive.
Unfortunately, drugs and alcohol are part of psychiatric
They
practice.
haven't hated themselves for
And
listening to
so
you.
probably 3/4 of my patients
Yeah, my nose.
have substance abuse problems.
Does this include
I
both
guess
legal
there's a lot
and
of people
illegal
who have
drugs?
Substance abuse.
Put them both together,
problems
probably
that
75%.
Met him.
And how frequently do you treat
know, we just
patients
gotta
who
think
have
about
suffered
those
from
poor
someone in their
souls out
lives
there
who
that have
abuses
this-
alcohol and drugs?
This poor
On a regular
soul.
basis, like I said, on a daily basis. This is part of what
they've
psychiatry
gone through,
is.
the traumatics.
And as
The
part of that treatment of
dramatics.
patients who abuse drugs and alcohol, do you evaluate the impact of the abuse on their brains and personal
insanity.
interactions
Like
with
having
others?
to look at him day and night,
Yes,
night and day.
substance of abuse, both in the short term and the long term, can affect the brain in terms of mood, behavior, cognition, meaning attention, concentration, memory, ability to control your behavior, as well as your overall level of functioning. It can affect it in the short term, such as alcoholic blackouts. It can affect it by causing stroke, such as stimulants can. And so at the end of the day, it's a rather lengthy list of what substance abuse can do to the human brain.
Dr. Spiegel, how frequently have you treated patients who have suffered intimate partner violence?
Again, it's very
Dr.
unfortunate
Beagle.
that probably 50% of my patients suffer from trauma.
Was it Dr.
If I had to
Siegel?
guess of those 50%, probably 25% of my practice is people who have suffered intimate partner violence.
And how consistent is that with the national
And who
average?
hasn't suffered from
In
violence?
America, unfortunately, it's
you
about
personally.
20 to 25%, depending on the study, of women have complained, have reported.
And